What's going on, guys? Tom from Geared Towards Liberty. I was trying to make a video earlier. It wasn't really working out. Then I tried to go live earlier, and I was having connectivity issues, I guess. So let's see how this works out for us. If it starts to break up, I'm turning this off again and starting over, because I hate when I have issues going on with this and I'm trying to talk. Alright, so anyways, let's go ahead and talk about some stuff. In my last video, I discussed some of the principles that are necessary for a free and civil society. Today I'm going to add to those values a little bit. Alright, this will be a shorter video, so I'm not going to hit as many things as I did last time, but still I want to go ahead and touch on some things and tell you a little bit about their importance and the reasoning behind why we need these things. Individual freedom is the biggest one. Alright, this is exactly what we stand on. This is the basis for everything we do in the liberty movement. Without individual freedom, everything else just kind of falls flat in its face. Okay? It's a stone that holds up happiness and productivity. If you don't have the ability to do what you want to do with your life, you're not going to be happy. And that's the basis for it. And as far as productivity goes, if you don't have the choice to enjoy your life and be able to educate yourself the way you want to and choose your own career and your own job and your own way of making money, you know, if you don't have that ability, you don't have that freedom, you're just forced into something, you're not going to do well at it. And that's what we want. We want the best of the best, and that's why we got to have that incentive for people to do that. That's what, you know, why individual freedom is so important for productivity. So that's that. It equals out pretty much having the right to pursue happiness in any way you see. Okay, any way you want to, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, and you don't take away from somebody else. That's our biggest thing. All right, like I said, I always harp on that. Don't hurt people. Don't take their stuff. But this applies to that as well. You should be able to do whatever you want to do. If you want to smoke a bunch of crazy drugs and inject stuff, and it's on your dime, you know, you're free to do that. You do what you want to do. If you want to go ahead and worship whatever God you want to do, and do that for the rest of your life, and do it every day, and just dedicate yourself to that, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, and you should have the freedom to do that. Okay, and just like pursuing whatever career you want, it's all about what you want to do. If you want to, you know, live your life a certain way and people don't like it, well, that's too damn bad unless it hurts them. So what? Live the way you want to live. Be happy, guys. That's what individual freedom is about. Unfortunately, in today's government, we see a lack of a protection for freedom. We see a lot of liberties that get lost because somebody doesn't like it and wants to decide morals for you. And that's pretty wrong when you think about it. Whether it's religion, whether it's a standpoint, whether it's somebody standing on their high horse saying that this is bad because blah, 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 the children. So what? That's not your children, first of all. That doesn't relate to your life. You live how you want to live. There's no pause about that. There is no explanation. There is no star hyphenated. Look at the bottom for the explanation. No, there's nothing extra that comes with that. Live your life the way you want to. All right, whatever makes you happy. As long as you don't hurt other people and you don't bother others, what does it freaking matter? Even if you bother others, that's okay. As long as you're not hurting others and you're not impeding on their freedom and their rights, do it. Freaking do it. All right. So anyway, that's how I feel about that. Funny way to really look at it is we want to keep the government out of our bedrooms. We want to keep them out of our pockets as well. That's important on both fronts. It really is. This applies to your religion. This applies to your food choices, your substance use, health care. This applies to how you choose to defend your property and your family. A million things I can go ahead and sit here and name. But you get the gist of it. You should be able to choose how you want to live your life. You're born here, right? And you make all these choices to stay alive. Well, choosing to stay alive isn't your only choice in life. Working shouldn't be your only choice in life. Everything is a choice. It should be exercised as such. Nobody should go ahead and tell you what to do. Whether it's the government, whether it's your pastor, whether it's your, you know, once you're of legal age, your mother and father don't even have that kind of judgment on you. You do you. Simple. Next thing I want to touch on a little bit is the right to privacy. We really want to advocate this. We really want to advocate individual privacy and as well as government transparency. It kind of goes hand in hand when you think about it. And we need that. We really need our privacy. We as free people need to be able to know that we can do anything we want in our daily lives and that nobody's watching us or spying on us, listening to our conversations, looking at us through webcams. Something crazy, you know? You think about it. when the NSA decides to go ahead and listen in on your conversation or hack your webcam and look at stuff, how would you feel? Okay, so on a government level, they're doing that. Now, what if a stalker or some lunatic decides that he wants to hack into your phone line and start listening to your conversations and watching you through your webcams or your phone cam or something like that? You'd be freaked out, right? You want that guy caught and you want him prosecuted. Okay, well, what gives the right for a government to go ahead and do that? They have no right. That's what tyranny is. Tyranny is the ability to say the government can do something and it's legal, but if you do it, it's illegal. That's tyranny in a nutshell. There's no special rules. There's no privileges. Nobody gets a one-up. There isn't two sets of laws between us, one for the commons and one for the elites. No, we are all bound by the same laws and principles, and nobody should have an upper hand on somebody else. That's it. And when it comes to that, the only place that's okay, I guess, to have an upper hand on other people is the economy. If you do well and you perform well, you are entitled to the fruits of your own labor. Easy enough, okay? That's a big deal. And the Fourth Amendment pretty much guarantees us our right to privacy in our homes, property, communications, and our day-to-day interactions, right? We shouldn't have this discussion even. But the funny thing is, in our government today, we ignore a lot of the amendments. We ignore the Constitution. We ignore the Bill of Rights. And these are all the things that are supposed to be what our government is based upon and what defends us and our liberties. But we don't pay attention to them the way we should. So we need to get back to that. We need to get back to a constitutional republic. We need to get back to defending people. We need to get back to having individual freedom and liberties being the highlight, the priority, the number one of everything that we do. Everything else will come second. And if it intrudes, it steps, or it messes with that first principle, that first thing, that liberty that we hold so dear, then it cannot be. Simple as that. That comes first. Freedom comes first. Everything else is second. You take your own security into your own hands. So if you want to say, well, sometimes we've got to give up some freedom to be safe, that's not how this works, all right? And if that's what you want, then hell, do you want to go to jail or prison? It's pretty safe, okay? Only guards have guns. You're nice and safe, lots of walls. Nobody's getting in there. So you get my point? We don't give up security. That's not a good idea, all right? So I'm going to get off my high horse. So that's Fourth Amendment guarantees that for us. This also includes protection from seizure, searches, as well as records held by third parties. This is stuff such as your email, your medical records, library records. Nobody should have access to those things except for you. Real simple. One of the analogies I like to throw out there a little bit is, so I guess, I've heard of instances. Now, I'm not going to say I've personally read articles about it or I personally have read cases about it, but the law enforcement can actually look into medical records, I guess, with court-ordered documents to see if somebody is a drug user. For example, if you happen to use drugs and you OD or something and you go to the hospital to get treated, and then afterwards you seek treatment afterwards, that's all recorded, and law enforcement can tap into that and get you in trouble. Now, that's not right whatsoever. The only person that should have medical record access is you. That's it. That's between you, your doctor, if you choose to, your family and close friends. But nobody should have the ability to access information without your consent, regardless of what's going on. That's what liberty is all about, and it's about privacy. All right? We all want to be left alone. Nobody wants people up in our business. All right? We all want to be left alone. Let's keep it that way. It's easy. Privacy. So, excuse me. Last thing I want to touch on a little bit is government accountability. All right, and this is kind of a big deal because, with the video I posted a while back about the $6.5 trillion that was misplaced, unaccounted for, when they went ahead and did an audit, nobody could find it. They have no idea what's going on. And they find it as no surprise. Well, what the hell? That's not their money to be misplacing, guys. That's our money. That's our money. And I say that, I know it doesn't hold a lot of relevance because we only give so much in taxes, but we don't understand we give about, 33% of our taxes, right? That adds up over time. And not only that, but that's the one thing we are held together by is that we all, as people of the U.S., are being stolen from. We get our money stolen, every 2 weeks or whenever you get your paycheck. And that's not correct. That's not the right way to be. You give that money, right? And they should do right by it because we trust them in those positions. We trust the government. We trust people that are placed in places of authority. They should do right by us. They shouldn't have an excuse to just get away with stuff like that. $6.5 trillion. Can you imagine? Shoot. I wish somebody lost 6.5 trillion and put it in my account. I mean, that's insane. Trillion. You know, you don't really think about that much money, but that's freaking ridiculous. All right. So, anyways, I don't think that the government should be in debt too. All right, and I know that's simple. Everyone thinks that, right? Government, state, they shouldn't be in debt. That's just a bad way to be. I don't think they should be able to incur any debt whatsoever on their budget reports every year without consent of the people. And since it's the future generations that are the ones that are going to hold the burden when it comes down to debt, I really think they need their consent. Since they can't have their consent, they shouldn't be able to incur any debt. It's a simple process, you know. You kind of catch them that way. There's no way to go ahead and monitor that. There's no way to get the consent, and not only that, but all we're doing is screwing up things for our children. We're screwing things up for our grandchildren. We keep rolling over this debt. We're like, oh, it's okay. It's not going to hurt me in my lifetime. But so what? Stop being selfish. This is your family. Think about it. All right, it's going to hurt them in the next generation or two. Now, I'm not saying, oh, we got to care just about that. You shouldn't care about yourself. No, you should. But at the same time, we shouldn't keep rolling over debt. That's not a smart way to live. Eventually, it's going to collapse. And guess what? We're going under. And then you can go ahead and thank yourself for that. So we need to make sure we can do that. As far as, and let's say that, you know, through all reasonable means, they try to come up with a balanced budget. And they just can't do it. They're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know what's going on. They shouldn't be able to raise taxes. Instead, they should cut back on programs and cut back on their positions and cut back on government-run types of operations and programs. They shouldn't be able to raise our taxes over it. We shouldn't have to pay the penalty because they can't get their stuff together. Easy peasy. That's what we pay them for. They're the brainiacs, right? They're all smart and geniuses, and they know everything. And hey, the most experienced politicians are up there. Okay, fine. That's their deal then. They need to settle that. What about if you decide not to do your job? You wouldn't get paid, or you get reprimanded, and you get enough demerits, and you get fired. Okay, well, how many demerits do they have for all the times that they haven't went ahead and gotten rid of that debt? It's time to fire them. Simply put, there needs to be repercussions. And when they misplace money the way they do, there needs to be an investigation done from us somehow, from the citizens themselves. The fact that the military does it, or the fact that the government does it, that doesn't help matters any. That's just like when police do their own investigations on accusations, or when they go ahead and have, you know, shootings that are unjustified. They shouldn't do their own investigations. How is that helping anybody? How can you be held accountable when it's your best friend doing the damn investigation? Now, I say the word best friend, but, you know, if you're in the same line of profession, you're usually going to defend the guy that you're in a profession with. I'm just saying, okay? So they might, oh, well, they're not all friends. It's not about that. That's not the point. They might even be in the same department, but the fact is, they believe in the same thing. They should investigate themselves. We need to do our own private investigation of some. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I have all the answers, but we need to find a way to investigate stuff like that. Whenever it's a government screwing up, or our authority figures screwing up, we need to find a way to investigate them that is not based on them, that is not controlled by them. Easily put. It just makes sense. We shouldn't. It's a conflict of interest. So that's my piece on that. As far as taxes go, if they're going to raise the taxes for some reason, they can ask us. All right, they should ask us permission. It's our government. It's our money. So they need to go ahead and get our consent somehow. It shouldn't be through our elected officials, okay? Because they never represent us. Once they get in there, they go mad with power. I know that sounds funny. I sound crazy by saying that, but it's true. I'm just going to say it simply. They should have some type of consent for us. We should be able to sign off on something if we want it, yay, nay, whatever. But the point is, we should decide when taxes go up, how much they'll go up, and why they go up. If we don't agree with the reason, we say no. Easy. Voluntary. That's one of the other principles of a free and civil society is volunteerism. If you don't want to do it, then you don't do it. And if you have consequences that are associated with those choices, then you face the consequences of each choice. Easy peasy. That's it. But there is no forced choices, forced decisions, forced no coercion. All right. But unfortunately, it seems like that's what we got to put up with, and it's pretty wrong. All right. So I mean, that's what I want. I just want to cover 3 quick principles with you guys. And since I was thinking of the subject and I was thinking about cops, all right, I just want to talk about this a little bit. The shootings, the 2 shootings in the last 2 weeks that were big, covered in the press. Now we got these riots over in Charlotte. It's crazy when you think about it, guys. It really is. You can't just keep saying that the cops were justified, whatever it was. These guys are thugs, That's not always the case. Yes, there is cases where it's like, okay, well, that guy shouldn't have went ahead and drawn a weapon, shouldn't have attacked, shouldn't have done this or done that, whatever. And I get that. If they're an aggressor and they get responded with force to stop them, then yeah, fair enough. I don't see why, that's not a big deal. I get that. I'm not anti-cop by any means, all right? But in these last couple cases, it's wrong what we're doing. It's wrong what they're doing, and we're just allowing it, or we try to defend it, or we try to say, well, so-and-so had a criminal background, and therefore this is okay somehow. That doesn't make a freaking difference. Your debt to society is repaid once you serve your prison sentence, and you do your time, and you come out, and guess what? You're a citizen again. You're entitled to all the same rights and privileges that you had before. That's it. If you commit certain crimes, yes, there is a punishment to be paid. But that punishment doesn't last for life unless it's something, super crazy. If you get out, you're a citizen again. That's it. And that shouldn't play a factor in whether somebody is murdered in cold blood, all right? At all. Unless somebody else is armed or they charge your ass, you have no reason to shoot them at all. You don't. That's simple freaking logic. And the other thing that bothers me about that, I think it's Tulsa, all right, with the female officer who shot the man. They had multiple officers there, okay? They had a helicopter out there too. But they had all these people around, and somehow she still managed to shoot this man down. He was unarmed. The car was closed. All right, it's shown on the video that the window was up. He was not trying to reach into there. And even if he was going for the door, you have like 5 different officers there. You're telling me nobody can go ahead and grab him and do something about it? Why did you have to shoot him down? And the funny thing is, I don't agree with Black Lives Matter, okay, at all. But what I do agree with is they have some complaints. They have some complaints, and they have some good things to say that need to be brought up in the community, all right? And they have some legitimate reasons to be angry. I don't like the way they go about it, because I don't believe that 2 evils make a wrong. Or if they're mad, like, I'm not going to incite violence here, but if you're mad at somebody, then take it to the person you're mad at. Don't be mad at and start kicking your family members or kicking your friends. That doesn't make any sense. Go after the guy you're pissed at, not everyone else. So, although I don't like the way they handle things, they have legitimate complaints. And these are things that need to be addressed by us. Whether we bring it up with our congressmen or as a community and society, we start to protest with them and help them. And when I say protest, I don't mean riot. There's a difference. All right, guys? Don't say that I told you to go out and start breaking shit. It's breaking stuff and stealing things. So, wow, it's troubling to think about that kind of stuff. And I think you guys should pay attention a little bit. And don't just get your mind clouded and be on one side of the debate and say, oh, well, they're okay for all reasons. Cops, you don't know unless you're in a cop's shoes. You don't know unless you feel their boots. You don't know what it's like. Okay, fine. Like I've said before in a previous post when I talk to people, I don't have any police training. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. I don't. But I do have common sense. And common sense would dictate that you don't hurt people unless they're going to hurt you. That's it. When somebody's unarmed and you're outnumber him and you're all armed and he isn't, you don't have a reason to shoot him unless he makes an aggressive move towards you. Easily put. And if you do, guess what? Then you should go down for manslaughter or murder. It's easy peasy. And this happens a lot. It really does. And it's kind of sickening, and we need to do something about it. We need to reform our police training, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a genius. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know any answers. But something needs to change, guys. And like I said, this isn't me shooting at the cops. Cops are good. There's a lot of good cops in there. I've encountered plenty. All the experiences I've had with police officers have been wonderful. But I think a vast majority of cops in certain areas need to change their training tactics a little bit. Instead of being aggressive or treating everything as though it's a battle. So, that's just my piece on it. Like I said, I'm not shooting down one group and shooting down the other or raising up the other. It's nothing like that. I'm just giving my honest opinion. They're both in a wrong and they're both in a right in one way or another. Okay, it's a case-by-case scenario. We don't just back one person. We look at the facts of each situation. Look at what really happened. Okay, in each expectation, everything that happens, and we go off of that. All right, guys. So anyways, alright, I know I got a little off topic there, but something that troubled me and I had to go ahead and talk about it a little bit. So you guys take it easy. If you like these kind of videos, then go ahead and drop me a like, share, comment, let's get a discussion going. If you don't like this, you hate it, whatever, then say so. Say you frickin' suck. So at least I know I do, and maybe I'll change my ways somehow, okay? I'll adapt to it. So thank you guys. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your support and for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. This is Tom from Geared Towards Liberty, and I'm out.